Hello and welcome to the Sonic Cinema podcast. My name is Brian Scuttle and thank you for joining me at www.sonic-cinema.com. Hit me up on patreon.com/Sonic Cinema to subscribe for early access reviews, special bonus content that's exclusive to patrons, including a lot of content with regards to this day's subject on the podcast, as well as exclusive videos and commentary, such as the recent one I did for the 1994 movie year. That's patreon.com/Sonic Cinema. Once you subscribe, uh, the month you subscribe in is free, and that will be the next month that you would be charged. So that's patreon.com/Sonic Cinema. Today, I am going to finish up my coverage of the 2019 Atlanta Film Festival, which ran from April 4th through April 14th. I was fortunate enough to make it to something most of the days. Unfortunately, the Wednesday and Thursday the festival went on, I was unable to, on part of me being sick with food poisoning, which unfortunately meant that I lost out on a couple of really great films I was looking forward to, as well as a sound and vision event that they were partnering with midweek that I was really looking forward to taking in. But there's still plenty of content, and there's a lot of interviews and stuff like that that I'm about to share with you, so I hope you enjoy these. Um, and you can read about my full experience on sonic-cinema.com. And I basically break it down with the opening night short film block, It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which was devoted to Georgia produced short films. And then basically I break it into the first weekend of the festival, the week Monday through Thursday, which was unfortunately aborted, shortened for me on the count of uh, being sick, and then the final weekend, Friday through Sunday. So you can read about that, and I'll have links to those blogs on the post for this. But today I want to share some verbal thoughts on the festival and my first experience covering something as a member of the press. I've done Dragon Con for 10 years, but I've done that as a fan. And I think that's kind of how I want to keep that experience. But the Atlanta Film Festival is definitely something that I think I really want to devote myself to covering every year. Uh, and part of it is the copious amount of reviews. Part of it is just the experience overall. And I do have to give a shout out to the organizers and the staff who did a really terrific job when it came to lineups, when it came to the press for the red carpet. It was really fantastic to have that experience and to have it be something that I really enjoyed. And hopefully next year I can build on this. And next year I'll be a little bit more experienced. And I'll be able to do some more as far as what as far as what I can offer my readers and listeners when it comes to talking about the Atlanta Film Festival. Today is this episode. A lot of it is going to be sharing with you the interviews, the brief Q&As I was able to have with some of the filmmakers who were there for especially the red carpet events, which there were four, which I covered all four of them. And that was really exciting. The films that the red carpet events were a very eclectic group, a very entertaining group on the whole. It started off with the opening night. feature called The Farewell, which is a comedy drama about a Chinese family whose the grandmother is dying, and they keep this from her, and they basically plan a wedding as a way of justifying getting the family back together. The Farewell is based on an experience of the writer-director Lulu Wang had with her family and her grandmother, and there's really funny anecdotes that occurred during the Q&A. I if you're a patron, you'll be able to hear that. I believe I think that's on there. If not, I don't remember if I got all of that part of the Q&A, but there was a lot of fun little anecdotes that came out with regards to the real life story that this is inspired by. Lulu Wang was on the red carpet, as well as the star of the movie, who was a last minute addition, Aquafina. You may know her from Crazy Rich Asians and Ocean's 8 last year. I would be surprised if this isn't a pretty big hit when it does come out in wide release. It's a really entertaining, crowd-pleasing movie. It's probably one of my favorite movies that I watched at the festival, just in terms of pure entertainment value. Although it does right now rate on my top 10 list for the year. And I had a chance to ask a couple of questions of Lulu Wang and Aquafina on the red carpet, and here is that for you.
What was the inspiration for you to make this a comedy?
Well, it was very funny. I think that when it happened to me in life, I was pretty sad. My whole family was sad, but there were moments that I just wanted to burst out laughing because it was so ridiculous. And it was that sort of like wanting to laugh, but then wanting to cry at the same time that inspired me.
Is this your first time in Atlanta?
No, I love Atlanta.
My parents live in Atlanta.
Our parents live in Atlanta.
All right.
I love Atlanta. I lived here for like 2 months. Yeah.
Okay.
It's fun. Yeah, thanks guys.
So there were a couple more red carpet events throughout the weekend and the first weekend of the festival, and but I did get a chance to speak to a couple of other filmmakers. One of whom, Liz Manischel, who I've already shared that podcast, that interview with you. She had the film Speed of Life there. I got a chance to meet her very briefly while I was in line for the movie, and so you can listen to that on the Sonic Cinema podcast. So I won't necessarily bring that audio back here, but it was a really entertaining discussion with her about her career, about making movies, about making this particular movie. And if it does, when it does get released, I do highly recommend seeing it. It's a really lovely romantic drama with some sci-fi elements in it. It's really fun the way she put that together. But you can listen to that entire interview in the Sonic Cinema podcast on the Sonic Cinema podcast YouTube page, as well as sonic-cinema.com. After that, there was another red carpet event. This one was for Joseph Cross's directorial debut, Summer Night, and that was an entertaining coming of age film. I'm not really. It's hard to get me intrigued by some coming of age film, but I really enjoyed this one, and it's got a lot of heart to it. It's got a great soundtrack that I really enjoyed listening to, and I really like the way that Joseph Cross shot the movie in terms of the music. I felt like it was very alive in a way that some people don't quite get when it comes to shooting music and concerts and stuff like that for film, for narrative film. I did get a chance to speak to Joseph Cross, who was there with his wife, producer Audrey Thomason Sini, who was a first-time producer on this, and I was able to ask him a couple of questions about going to the director's chair.
Hello, nice to meet you. Congratulations. Hi. What was it like being going from acting to directing?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, so I felt very fortunate to finally get to do it.
You've worked with a lot of big directors over the years.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular from any of them that you took with you in terms of, were there questions that you asked them while you were making their films?
All that sort of hopefully seeps in, as you're working with people, and everybody has sort of these different styles, and I think that one of the main takeaways is you really can build your own world. You can make a movie as you want to make a movie, and because everybody works so differently.
Right.
So that's something I really noticed. And then I had spent some time working with novice filmmakers as well, and I think of those experiences as hugely instrumental too, because I got to see where people might stumble and where they might fall and what their struggles were, and talk to some friends about that. So that was really helpful too.
Okay. What was it about this story that made you want for it to be the first one that you told as a director?
I really liked the script, and I think it was very similar to my upbringing, and it just felt right. It just felt like a story that I could tell, that I could understand. That was enough of a challenge for the first movie, but wasn't too large in scope to get it made.
Okay. Thank you very much. Can I get a quick picture of you guys?
So there were a couple of other actors. There were a couple of actors from Summer Night there. The first one is Hayden Seto. I had a chance to speak with him on the red carpet, and here's that discussion.
Sonic Cinema. Hello.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Hayden. Very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. What drew you to the project when you read the script?
I wanted to play a musician, and I'm a fan of the coming of age genre, and I love music. So there were so many reasons to do it than not to.
As a musician myself, I definitely can appreciate that.
Yeah.
What was it like working with an actor who's turned to directing?
It's so easy because he just gets it, Like, we don't need to do like a million takes of the same thing.
Right.
It's a lot of just, did that feel good to you? And we're like, yeah, that felt good. He's like, yeah, it felt good to me too. So it was very laid back. Yeah.
Even with a first-time director?
For sure. And of course, we just went by like our gut feelings a lot. We went with our guts a lot. And he was his own producer and everything, so we had as a unit had a lot of creative control over what we wanted.
Okay.
And so we got to play a lot. And when you get to play a lot, like the cast feels laid back, and when you're laid back, you get the most natural performances of anybody. Yeah.
Okay. What do you have coming up next?
I have a movie coming out later this year called Tiger Tail for Netflix.
Okay.
Directed by Alan Yang, starring John Cho.
All right.
So I very much look forward to that.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Good to
very
meet
much.
you. Can I get a picture right quick?
And the other actor who was there was Annalee Tipton, who's one of the lead characters in the movie. Unfortunately, she was late to the red carpet, and to wait for her meant missing part of the movie, and I really wanted to see the movie in its entirety. So unfortunately, I missed her coming to the red carpet. I did get a chance to talk to her briefly and tell her how much I enjoyed the movie and how much I enjoyed her performance in it very briefly after the movie. And I didn't get audio of that, but I did get a chance to talk to her about that, and to tell her how much I enjoyed the movie. So I did get a chance to talk to everybody in there. And Although I did get a chance to talk again with Joseph Cross after the movie, and here's that brief interaction.
Now that I've seen the film, I wanted to say I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you so much.
It takes a lot for me to really appreciate a coming of age movie. This is a really good one.
Oh, thank you.
I love the way you shot the music. How many takes did it take for the lemon?
So a couple times he did it in the first time, and then on the final one, I think it was the fourth take. But you know, Ray, our editor and post-production supervisor, he was ready to do a CG lemon. He had a whole plan for doing like a CG lemon. He had it on set. He was showing me how it would work. And Bill's like, I bet I can fucking get that lemon. And sure enough, he did, man. He just
that was so great. I love the way that scene was cut together. It's this big setup, and it's only lasts a bit, but it's a little bit, but it was so good.
It's so silly. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's a fun time. So
yeah, thank you for coming out.
Of course, thank you. Thanks for talking with me. I appreciate it.
On Sunday was an interesting assortment of films. A lot of them were very taken from the headlines. A couple of documentaries that I saw. One narrative film, unfortunately, I did miss. It sold out Sunday because it was a Georgia based film. It sold out pretty rapidly, and they actually had an encore for Wednesday, which unfortunately I missed on the account of being sick. So Reckoning is one of the few movies that I was planning on going to see that I missed. Hopefully I'll get a chance to see it when it comes out in theaters. If it comes out in theaters, I would imagine it probably will. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I got a chance to. I didn't talk to him on the in a tape conversation, but I did get a chance to talk to the co-director of Life Without Basketball, Timothy O'Donnell, after the screening of his movie. How much I liked his movie, how much it reminded me of Hoop Dreams, but I feel like it does its own thing. I feel like it has its own voice, which is really really strong in terms of what it's trying to say with regards to the larger society and the societal issues that are involved in the film. And so that was good. I have his card. Hopefully I'll get to have a discussion with him sometime in the future that I'll present to you on Sonic-Cinema. But the big red carpet today, this on Sunday the 7th, was for Joe Berlinger's upcoming Netflix drama about Ted Bundy, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. Berlinger was in attendance. He was receiving the festival's first Originator Award, and I got a chance to talk to him briefly on the red carpet, and I hope you enjoy that.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'm Brian. Okay. What was it about Ted Bundy's story that inspired you to move from documentaries to narrative?
Well, the script I thought was fascinating, seeing things from the victim's point of view, seeing things from Liz's point of view, where she did not see that he was a terrible killer. And I think that's a metaphor for my belief that the people who do the worst in life, because I've done 25 years of crime, and the people who do the worst in life and the most evil are the people you least expect. Whether it's a priest who commits pedophilia or somebody like Ted Bundy, who, you know, he had a real life live-in girlfriend who thought he was a great guy. He was a great surrogate father to the daughter from another, you know, from Liz's relationship, from another relationship. And so this script allows you to see things from a different point of view. It kind of takes the serial killer genre and turns it on its head.
What was the biggest challenge, if there was any, from going from, I know you've directed narratives before, what was the biggest challenge returning to it after so long?
For documentary, the name of the game for documentary is just following the story and seeing where it goes, and not locking yourself into a preconceived idea of what the film should be. Otherwise, you miss the story. With a feature, you have to be very prepared and go into your day knowing what you're going to get. In a documentary, it's just the opposite. So just figuring out that balance,
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Berlinger was somebody that I really was wanting to meet, really looking forward to meeting because of the fact that the Paradise Lost trilogy that he co-directed is one of my favorite documentary projects ever, and it's just one that has mesmerized me since I first saw it in 1996, and it's a series that fascinates me. And he also did Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Unfortunately, I do need to get caught up on a lot of his other documentary work, but after Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, I definitely want to catch up with more than that, and especially his recent series on Ted Bundy as well. And when it hits Netflix, I definitely recommend checking out Extremely Wicked. It's got fantastic performances by Zac Efron as Ted Bundy and Lily Collins as Kendall, who is a woman who fell in love with him and not knowing that he was a sociopathic murderer. And it was an interesting watch. I definitely enjoyed getting the chance to cover all of those events, and it was an experience that you kind of see sort of, but you don't really until you actually experience it. It's kind of its own thing. Trying to figure out the best way to cover it was a bit of a challenge for me with very minimal means, but I think I did a pretty good job. And so that was my red carpet experience. But I did get a chance to after actually my interview with Liz Manischel on Monday afternoon while I was at home, a filmmaker who was in town for the festival emailed me about maybe talking about their episodic web series, Who You Are, that they had a couple of episodes showing in the episodic showcase at the festival, and they sent me the pilot, which is 4.5 minutes, and it's really an enjoyable it's an enjoyable setup for what could be a really entertaining dark comedy. And I got a chance to watch the film briefly, watch the film as well as meet up with the director Joel Blacker at the Filmmakers Lounge at the festival, and here's that discussion that we had.
So I'm sitting here with Joel Blacker, who's the director of a short episodic pilot called Who You Are that debuted here at the Atlanta Film Festival. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Where did the idea for Who You Are come from?
Oh, geez. I wish my writer was here to talk more to that. But what he would say is that in college, Sam and I have known each other since middle school, so all of 10 years. And in college, he was writing at Chapman University, and he would say that he's taking one too many religious studies classes and had a bit of a panic attack about self-identity and whatnot. And that kind of spurred the origins of the script, at least a soul-reading computer that can tell you who you are.
How many episodes have you done so far? Is it just the one?
No, so we've done 5 episodes, 5, just roughly 5-minute, give or take, episodes. We're looking to put them online pretty soon, but we had our pilot play at South by Southwest, and then we had a couple episodes played here at Atlanta.
Okay. When did that happen?
Screening?
Yeah.
It was just on Saturday night at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And, yeah.
All right. How was the response?
Oh, it was amazing. It was fantastic. Like, the room was full, which was nice. There's a really great array of shows that played, but ours is a comedy, and I was just thrilled that everyone laughed and had a lot of reaction to it. Everyone had just really great things to say about it, which was great.
Yeah, you shared. I'm guessing it's the first episode.
Yeah, I shared the first and third episode actually on Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a bit. They're very different from one another. One's a bit more chaotic, and then one's a bit more surreal.
Yeah. It's really entertaining. What you sent me was really enjoyable. Where can people find it?
So I'm hoping people follow us at Who You Are series. Right now we're still on our festival run, but very soon here we're going to be looking to put it online and share it with people. And so we're going to be announcing some dates very soon on our social channels, and getting it out there.
Okay. How would you get into filmmaking?
How did I get into filmmaking? Wow, it's always been a passion of mine. From a young age, I was just building Legos and shooting Lego films and whatnot. I got very fortunate that my family moved to the States from England when I was 12, and we moved not far out of LA. And as I grew up, the dream of working in film just became a bit more feasible with how close I was to LA. I got to work on a couple sets, and I moved to LA when I was 17, and I just been pursuing it ever since. But
what are the types of films or filmmakers that inspired you more?
Over the years, I find I'm doing a lot more comedy these days, and very dark comedy. I'd always thought I'd be a bit of a dramatic director, but then I watched films like Shaun of the Dead that have that very British, blunt, aggressive sort of humor. And then a lot of music videos. I've been just loving that music videos are back and interesting again, and I just see a lot of bizarre concepts come out of music videos that I think can translate into narrative form, and so I'm trying to adopt that. Edgar Wright, another director that's inspired me over the years, of course.
Is Who You Are your first project that you've gotten off the ground?
Who You Are is my first episodic project.
Okay.
As a director, I've done short films, I've done music videos, done some commercial work. Sam and I have worked together on a couple short films, and together we were working on Who You Are for the last 5 years as a sort of short film, but then we decided there's just a bigger world around the concept, and we suddenly decided to start writing it as an episodic and as a short series, and we're hoping to develop the short series into a much larger show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see the potential there.
Yeah, thanks. I hope so.
Let's see. Do you have any other ideas that you're working on now?
I just did a music video. I directed a music video this last week. I love music videos. Keep me fresh as a director. I think I want to just stay in that sort of realm of work. Sam and I are currently writing the feature version of a short film we did a couple years back, and we were on a festival circuit with that film. It's called Let's Do It. It's about a couple trying to throw an orgy, and they invite all the wrong people, and it turns into a clusterfuck of people. And it's a fun, dark comedy again. So, we did some great, comedy festivals with that, and now we're hoping to do the feature. And then, too, we're also just building on this show, Who You Are, a bit more. So that's sort of where my future lies.
Where can people find you online to keep up?
Yeah, I would love for people to hunt me down. I always tell people to please reach out. I'm on anything social at Joel J. Blacker. Jay is my middle name, at Joel J. Blacker. Or go to my website, joelblacker.com.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I put all my work.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate this.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to meet and talk to a whole bunch of filmmakers, unfortunately, especially for interview purposes. I did talk to a couple filmmakers after the Rebels in the Rye short film block on Tuesday. Uh, a couple of the ones that really stood out to me on that. The director and star of In Defense of Wonder, which is about a woman dealing with anxiety after a traumatic experience, as well as The Boogie Woman, which has elements of David Lynch, but also elements of like 80s teen horror. And both of those filmmakers, I wanted to let them know that I really appreciated their work, and I got a chance to just say that a little bit after the Q&A, and so that was a fun experience before my next screening that day. So unfortunately, there weren't too many other filmmakers I did get a chance to talk to, but there was one more, and was for the closing night screening of Them That Follow, which is a film about Pentecostal snake handlers, a community of Pentecostal snake handlers, starring Olivia Colman and Walton Goggins, and it is a tremendous movie. It's one of my favorite movies. It is truly one of my favorite movies, and one of the best movies I saw at the festival. And I got a chance to talk to the co-director of the film, Dan Savage, before the film, and here's that discussion.
Hello.
Hi. Right here.
What was the inspiration behind the film?
The inspiration behind the film, actually, I have had a lifelong fascination with Pentecostal snake handling, if you can believe that. You know, when I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania, in the northern stretches of the Appalachian Mountains, and I remember a very long time ago, you know, when I was a young boy, learning about stories of snake handlers being bitten and gathering around communities to pray, and truthfully it scared me and it really terrified me. And as I grew older, I saw more and more of these stories in the news, and it hooked its fangs into me, and I needed to know more about these folks. I needed to know why they come and sit in the church on every Sunday, why they pick up these snakes. And for me it was just a real challenge to empathize and understand with these folks. And as I began to progress in my own journey and my own feelings towards these churches, I wanted to take audiences on that same journey, and so that was really what this film's about for me.
Okay. What was it like working with people like Olivia Williams and Walter Goggins on your first time out as feature director?
You know, I'm speechless. I mean, Olivia Colman is one of the greatest actresses of all time. She is a joy to work with. It was an honor that I hope to have again. But really, our entire cast was incredible. Olivia, Walton Goggins, Jim Gaffigan, Caitlin Deaver, Alice Engler, Thomas Mann, Louis Pullman. You know, they made my job really easy.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I think I mentioned it earlier, if I didn't. Between short films and features, I saw a total of 49 movies at the Atlanta Film Festival. And that was, you know, unfortunately, it took me, being sick Wednesday and Thursday, took me out of the ring for seeing 50, as well as a couple of choices made throughout the first weekend after summer night, where I was just too tired to sit and too hungry and too tired to again to go into the couple of screenings after summer night that I had originally planned on doing. So totally, I would have liked to have gotten to 50, but you know, I feel like I had a pretty full experience when it came to the film festival as far as movies go. Some of my favorites I've already talked about a little bit in the written blogs, as well as other posts. The best films that I saw at the festival, short or feature, were Willem Bosch's Afterlife, which is a film from the Netherlands and is about a girl who dies a year after her mother did, and she has a choice to make when it comes to whether she wants to stay in the afterlife with her mother and the rest of her family, or the go back to living her life. And there's a trick to, and there's a catch to that choice. It's one of it's easily my favorite movie I saw this uh, during the festival. It was the next to the last day. It was right before them that follow, relatively right before them that follows, and it was just such a wonderful experience, and it was such a fascinating look at life and death, and it's a movie that really had an impact on me. Willem Bosch, when I talked about after I posted that on Twitter, he actually reached out to me via message, uh, direct message, and it was nice to have a little bit of a back and forth with him on that, and you can find the review for that on sonic-cinema.com. Other movies that I really loved were Them That Follow. As far as feature films, Them That Follow, Always in Season, which is a documentary about lynching, which is tremendous and really important to watch, I think, nowadays, because we still have not really we still have not had the uh, reckoning with the past, with the violent past and systemic racism that this country was built on. And I think Always in Season is a really great film as far as opening that conversation and showing that these issues may not be as blatantly open as they once were, but uh, they're still going on, and it's something that we really need to deal with as a society. And so, Always in Season was fantastic. Speed of Life a uh, was a lovely romantic drama, and it you can hear my discussion with Liz Manischel, and you can tell how much the film meant to her. Talking about when we were talking about The Farewell is such an entertaining and moving film, and it's a really great crowd pleaser, and I can't wait for audiences to see it. I think it's going to be one that's a big hit. The Fourth Kingdom is a documentary feature that I'd actually reviewed the short for, and it's basically about a recycling center in New York, and it's about the community within that recycling center, and it's just it's a fascinating look at society on the fringes, and a community that builds up out of um, a, a smaller community, and it's really quite a compelling story. I highly recommend checking that out. Um, and I have to say, probably the movie that had as far as short films, there was an animated short in the short film block, the Georgia short film block, Griffin Animo, that was just stunning to watch visually speaking, and tells a very tender and personal fantasy story, and that's one of my favorite ones. probably my next favorite short film is one called Evelyn Times Evelyn, and it's set in Texas in 1950s, and it's basically dealing with loss. It's basically dealing with grief and how that can manifest with people. And it's such a wonderful concept. It's such an interesting concept. If you get a chance to watch it, I definitely recommend it. It's the way that the filmmakers tell that story is really striking and really interesting and really effective for what it's trying to do. The last feature review that I wrote for the film festival was for a film called Monos, and you can read the review. It's really it was something that I had to stew on. It was something I had to sit with for a while because of just how different and how interesting it was, but and how complicated it is in terms of what it's trying to do and how I felt like it did or didn't do what it wanted to do. And that's one that I definitely would recommend checking out too. I kind of want to see it again to see how I feel about it the second time around. But it was interesting because that reaction, like there was no reaction after that movie. Like nobody clapped or something like that, which is standard at film festival screenings. But nobody clapped at that one. I don't think it's just because of the fact that it was a 10 o'clock showing and it was 10 o'clock on a Friday night, but it's a difficult movie to process, and I definitely, there's something about those type of experiences that are always interesting to have. So those were the movies that stood out to me during the festival. I definitely want to try to do this again next year. I got a lot out of the experience in addition to just the wealth of movies and the different movies that I saw. Just the experience of talking to some of these filmmakers, being able to see their films, talk about them with their films with them, and just to experience just the experience in general. And hopefully I won't get sick, and I know more now, so it's like I can do things a bit differently to maybe prevent that. And that's all I have to say about the Atlanta Film Festival right now. I hope you enjoyed the content that I had. Again, all of the reviews, all the blogs are on Sonic Cinema. And thank you very much. This is Brian Scuttle. We're going to be continuing with the class of 1999 here with a couple of bigger entries into the movie year. And as well as there are going to be some other ones that come out. So I hope you enjoy that. Thank you very much. This is Brian Scuttle for the Sonic Cinema Podcast.